Hi, this is Sarah Broniger of the New Horizons Academy with my videos of demonstrating math concepts. This video is on multiplication of signed numbers. Multiplication of signed numbers. Math books have you memorize these rules. Positive times positive is a positive, negative times positive is a negative, negative times negative is a positive. And you will use these rules so often you will have them memorized. But I'm going to try to give you a demo that can go with the rules. So, positive times a positive is a positive. That's the easy one. You have 2, positive 2, and you get it twice. I'm going to show the action of having it once, 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times. So this would be my way of showing getting positive 2 3 times. You end up with 6. This one's also easy to demo. You have negative 2. I'll often say you have 2 missing. It's like a withdrawal in your account, a fee. And that missing amount happens 3 times. Let's say it's a late fee. You get that late fee once, twice, 3 times. You get negative 6. Now, when you have 2 things being multiplied, you can switch them and it makes no difference. So you could think of this as positive 3 negative 2 times. Well, that gets into a different demo. That's our next demo. Okay, here's the next way you could find a problem. You could have positive 2 negative 3 times. You can always switch a multiplication around and think of that as negative 3 twice. That's much simpler. Negative 3 twice, you get negative 6. But I'm going to demo this one differently, mostly because it will make this demo make more sense. I'm going to demo it exactly as it says. Positive 2, negative 3 times. You can think of that as the opposite of having it twice. Instead of having it twice, I thought I had it twice. No, I'm missing it twice. So instead of having it, I've lost it once and twice. I end up with 2 missing and 2 missing. Oh, 3 times. And 2 missing. I should look at my own problem here. Now I have negative 6. So let me say it again. I could think of this as negative 3, which I'll draw, once, twice. That gets me negative 6 as an answer. Pretty simple. Or I can think of it as positive 2. The opposite of having positive 2 is missing 2 3 times. And it still gets me negative 6. The reason I demonstrated it that way, which is more complicated, is because it'll make more sense here. Here I have negative 3. That's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to get the opposite of that. I'm not going to get negative 3. The opposite of having a missing 3 is having 3. Once, twice, 3 times. I end up with 9. So, simply a way you could think of this is I have 2, but I'm going to get the opposite of that, which is negative 2. 3 times, I'm going to get negative 6. Here I have negative 2, but I'm going to get the opposite of that, which is positive 2, 4 times, which is positive 8. Here I have 3 numbers being multiplied. Here I have negative 2, twice. Now I'm going to get the opposite of that, which is positive 4. Oh, marker didn't work. twice. I end up with 8. One way you can look at it is, if you have a negative number, the opposite of that makes you a positive number. So any two negative numbers will cancel each other out. I'm going to demonstrate that one differently. Now I'm going to talk about how two negative numbers multiplied will get you a positive. Here I have -1. Now I'm going to get the opposite of that once. Well, the opposite of missing one is having one. And I got that once. Now I'm going to get the opposite of that. Okay, now I'm back to missing. And then I'm going to get the opposite of that. Now I'm back to having. So every time you have a negative number, the opposite of that makes a positive number. You get a negative number, the opposite of that makes a positive number. So mathematicians can get lazy. They can go -2 times -3 times -1 times -2, and they just go negative, positive, negative, positive. My answer will be positive 12. All you have to do is multiply the numbers to get 12, and I can see that it will be a positive number. What if it was one more? What if it was times -1? Well, then this would be positive, positive, negative. My answer would be -12. It's a cheat, but if you think with it's the opposite of it, and it's just flip-flopping back and forth, then that can give something that you can visualize to this cheat. I'm going to demonstrate one more problem. I'll start with this. I have 3 negative signs. That means these two will cancel each other out, be a positive. I will end up with a negative. So right now I know my answer is negative. I knew that 2 times 1 times 2 times 2 times 1 is 8. So my answer is going to be -8. That's not very exciting, so now I'll demo it. I have 2. I'm going to get the opposite of that once. It's going to give me -2. I'm going to get that, -2, twice. Once, twice. I'm going to get the opposite of that. Okay, twice. That means I'm going to get this -4. The opposite of it is having 4. Once, twice. Here's 4. Once, twice. Now I'm going to get the opposite of that. I'm going to get the opposite of having 8. I'm going to just draw this all the way over here, which is -8. One last thing to point out. In math, sometimes people get lazy and they just write minus. Think of it as -1. Think of this as -1 times -1 times -1 times 2. The opposite of 2, the opposite of 2 is -2. The opposite of -2 is +2. The opposite of 2 is -2. So my answer is -2. That's laying it all out and doing all the steps, but you can also just say, that's going to be a positive, I'm going to be left with a negative, and 1 times 1 times 1 times 2 is 2. I hope that helps.